All right, All-Star game being played tonight in Cincinnati, and you and I have seen a lot of All-Star games. We've read a lot about All-Star games. We've seen highlights from All-Star games. What are your 6 most memorable All-Star game moments?
Yeah, because I have been to every All-Star game since 1933, the first one. And you know that All-Star game was started by a sports writer who recommended it in
Arch
Chicago.
Ward.
Yeah, and I always had good. Arch wouldn't shut up with that, though. He didn't wanted the NFL champions to play the college champions.
That was a bad decision.
So Arch, stick with it. It's like me coming up with Orange Crush and Blake Street Bombers. I should have stopped there. Number 6 would be 1933, first All-Star game. Babe Ruth hit a home run. What's more fitting than that?
Yeah.
And it started a tradition that was great. In 1955, one of my idols that I idolized, Stan the Man Musial, homered in the 12th, and it was the first walk-off home run in All-Star history. Number 4 would be 1934, the second World Series, and I remember this distinctly. I was in the stands there. Carl Hubbard struck out 5 straight American leaguers.
All Hall of Famers eventually.
Yeah, Babe Ruth, Gehrig, Fox, Simmons, and Joe Cronin, who went on to be the American League president. Number 3, 1984, 2 young pitchers. Last night, and during this All-Star game, we're going to talk about young people, because young people, I'm talking about young players, are now players under 25 are providing 18% of the offense in baseball. I bet you didn't know that. 1984, there were 2 great young pitchers. Valenzuela was about 83 when he came to the pit, but he was young for the... Valenzuela and Dwight Gooden struck out 6 straight players from the American League. Over 2 innings. They each worked an inning, and that was nobody's ever. I mean, that's never been accomplished in All-Star history except for that. 1983, Fred Lynn hit the first and only grand slam, and I remember that. That was distinctive. And number 1, all-time All-Star memory would be Ted Williams returned from World War II, and you know this. Ted Williams not only flew airplanes in World War II, but also was in the Korean War.
Yes.
So he missed about 3.5, 4 years. He came back from World War II, and just a week or so after I was born on June 27th, 1946. July 9th, 1946, he had 2 homers in the All-Star game, 5 RBIs, and went 4 for 4. What a comeback from World War II.
Yeah. If Ted Williams and Bob Feller hadn't put in so much service time, we would be talking about them, no doubt, as the greatest hitter and the greatest pitcher of all time.
Until steroids came along.
All right, my 6 most memorable All-Star moments. John Kruk versus Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Randy Johnson throws his first pitch over Kruk's head. Now Kruk's afraid to step in, left-hander against left-hander, and he just takes these wild swings and then walks back to the dugout and bows to Randy Johnson.
Yeah. Larry Walker move.
2001, Cal Ripken was playing third base for the American League All-Stars. Alex Rodriguez was the shortstop. This might be the one nice thing A-Rod did his whole career. He allowed Cal to play shortstop, his original position, in Cal's very last All-Star game. That was a
made you
tearful
cry,
moment.
didn't
Yeah.
you?
2002, the game ends in a tie. Ironically, in Milwaukee, the team that Bud Selig used to own, he's now the commissioner. He's embarrassed by this whole thing, and this is why, 2002 All-Star game, the tie, this is why they now play to the end, and they've added people to the roster, and it now determines home field for the World Series.
Was there ever another tie in the All-Star game?
I believe there was. Was it because of rain? Was it because of rain?
They used to play 2 All-Star games.
Yeah.
Boy, was that a bad idea. They played over a 2-week period. They played 2, and one of them ended in a tie because of rain.
1970, Pete Rose barreling into Ray Fosse at the plate and really killing Ray Fosse's major league career. I remember this specifically because the guy who had the winning hit that brought Rose home was a Chicago Cub, and I was 14 years old at the time, and I was a Cub, and I'm, yes, and then Fosse gets bowled over. I was at the 1983 All-Star game. It was the 50th anniversary game. It was at the old Comiskey Park in Chicago. My friends and I did not have tickets. We went to the game. We bought some tickets outside. We waited until the very first pitch. We got them under face value. We got as many as we needed. We went in. Freddie Lynn hits the grand slam homer. I think it was the third inning off Atlee Hammaker. Still, the only grand slam ever hit in All-Star Game history.
And you know what was said after that? Well, you know, Steve. Steve.
Harry
Fred
Freddie
Lemon.
Lynn.
Lemon.
And then the 1998 All-Star Game here at Coors Field was very memorable for me. I was
You
in
got the Beanie Babies.
Well, I did get Beanie Babies. I was in the National League clubhouse, as probably you were too. And this is my most vivid memory. All of the National League All-Stars are getting autographs from one another. The media talking Sammy Sosa and Kevin Brown, the pitcher. I just remember this so vividly. Everybody's in this great mood, and off in the corner on a sofa in the Rockies home clubhouse is Barry Bonds laying on, and nobody's talking to him. No players are talking to him, no media's talking to him, and he was perfectly happy. He was a real big jerk even at that time. And I went over to Barry, and I said, Barry, can I get an interview with you? And he said, nope. I said, Barry, come on, man, it's the All-Star Game. He said, nope. I said, listen, this is not, I'm not going to be asking you negative questions. This is a feel-good story. It's the All-Star Game. He said, oh, okay. He sits down in his locker. About 5 or 6 of us surround him. You know this. When he was in a mood, he could be one of the most engaging guys around.
When was he in a mood?
He was that
Steve.
day. He was that day.
Oh, man.
Those are our most memorable.
He was an ass.
Also, he was, but
going back to when he was in Pittsburgh, I was his spring training, and he was an ass.
He
then.
was.
Yeah.
He was. Jim Leland will tell you that too, and he managed
him.
Steve. Pick Six, sponsored by Davidson's Liquors. Fans of the Sports Show get $10 off any online order of $50 or more. Go to davidsonsdenver.com. Use the promo code SportsShow10. They'll deliver it to your house. You can go and pick it up, but you have to order it at davidsonsdenver.com and use the coupon code SportsShow10.